Okay, so you've probably heard this term ESG thrown around a lot. But what's the deal with it, really? Especially for businesses. Today, we're going to zero in on that first letter, the E, and that E stands for environment.
Right. So when you hear a company or an investor talking about their E score and ESG, what are they actually talking about? What does that even cover? Let's get right into it and break it all down.
It's pretty straightforward, really. The E is all about the environment. It's looking at how a company's day-to-day business affects the natural world around us, from the stuff it uses up to the trash it leaves behind.
And to make that even clearer, we're talking about a company's impact on some really basic essential things, like the air we breathe, the water we drink, how land is used, and what happens to all the plants and animals living in an area.
Okay, so that's what the environment is. But let's ask the bigger question. Why should a business, or an investor for that matter, even care? Why does a company's relationship with the planet matter so much? Let's dig into that. Well, for starters, think about it on the most basic level. A healthy planet gives us everything we need to live and run a business. It all starts with something as simple as clean air. I mean, that's pretty vital for keeping your employees, your customers, and really everyone healthy.
But here's the flip side. A lot of industrial work can lead to air pollution, and that's a huge problem, right? It creates health risks for people, and it can also land companies in hot water with regulations.
And it's the exact same story with water. We all know we need clean water to live. That's a given. But for tons of industries like farming or making, well, just about anything, clean water is absolutely essential to just keep the lights on.
So you can see why water pollution is such a massive risk. Not only does it mess up ecosystems and harm communities, but it can literally cause water to run out. And when that happens, supply chains break down and business can grind to a halt. When you get right down to it, it all boils down to one simple fact. Nature gives us the raw materials for pretty much everything. Our food, for instance, our entire economy is built on top of these natural systems. We literally can't function without them. So let's just quickly pull that all together. The big environmental issues that ESG is trying to tackle are things like air and water pollution, the sheer amount of waste we create, and of course, the huge one, climate change. All right, we've laid out the big picture. Now, let's bring it back down to the company level. How exactly do companies leave what we call an environmental footprint? It's actually a pretty direct line from A to B. Think about it. Running a factory, that takes a ton of energy. Just keeping the office running every day, that uses water. And actually making products, well, that creates waste. Every single one of those steps has an impact you can actually measure. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom, because once you understand the impact, you can start to do something about it. So let's shift gears now and talk about solutions. What can companies actually do? Let's kick things off with energy. A huge win here is just being more efficient. And this can be super simple stuff like swapping out old light bulbs for energy-saving ones. But it can also be bigger things like making sure machinery is running at its best to use less electricity overall. And the result is awesome. Because so much of our power still comes from burning fossil fuels, when you use less energy, you're directly cutting down on pollution right at the source. It's that simple. This same kind of thinking works for waste too. You've probably heard of reduce, reuse, recycle, right? The best thing you can do is just create less waste to begin with. After that, try to reuse stuff, and whatever's left, you recycle it so it can be turned into something new. So you see, whether we're talking about saving energy or dealing with waste, it's all pointing in the same direction. The big goal here is to shrink a company's negative impact on the planet. And this really brings us right back to where we started. See, protecting the environment isn't just about saving trees and animals. It's really about protecting ourselves, our health, and the kind of future we're all going to live in. So what's at stake? Honestly, pretty much everything. How a company performs environmentally has a direct link to our health, the food we eat, the water we drink. I mean, these are the building blocks of our future. And that, right there, is the whole point of the E in ESG. It's this idea that protecting our planet isn't just a nice to have. It's something we have to do for a sustainable future. So that leaves us with a really big question to think about. When you consider their huge impact, but also the solutions we've talked about, can companies really protect nature and make a profit at the same time? What do you think? Give me one reason why you think yes or no. It's a tough question, and it's really what ESG is all about. Thanks for tuning in.